Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me in this virtual teaching kitchen. My name is Esmeralda Painter and I will be leading this presentation. What we're going to be cooking today is air fryer chicken fajitas. So I have my air fryer right here and the other ingredients and items that we will need. So this is mainly for busy college students such as yourselves. I thought of a recipe that can be quick, easy, and cheap. So thank you for joining me and taking the time out of your day to watch this presentation. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I have my ingredients here. We have our chicken and we also have the bell peppers that I will be using. I also have some cilantro that's gonna top the plates. And we have microwave rice. I chose microwave minute rice due to the ease of cooking and also due to the fact that you don't need a stove to cook it. And that is important because I know that sometimes college students do not have access to major kitchen appliances such as stoves. So all you might have in a dorm could possibly be just a microwave and you might have space for another appliance. And that is why I chose the air fryer because it's small and versatile. So again, that is why I chose the microwave rice. And then we have a stable ingredient, which is a can of black beans. And that is it for the ingredients. We also have some pantry items, um, olive oil and paprika and salt and pepper. So we're gonna go ahead and just get right into it. First thing we wanna do is wash our hands. And we are going to wash the produce that we will be using to make sure it washes away any contaminants such as dirt or any germs. So we're gonna go ahead and wash these. We're gonna pat this dry, that way it won't be soggy when we use it. So this is gonna get minced up. This is the cilantro. And then I'm gonna wash up the bell peppers. So I did want to mention a couple of nutrition facts about bell peppers while I am slicing these up. So bell peppers are a very high source of vitamin C. And if you guys are familiar with vitamin C, you might have heard that vitamin C is a very powerful antioxidant. So essentially what that means is that an antioxidant can help protect cells, your bodily cells, from damage. And vitamin C is also very necessary for collagen synthesis. I know you might have heard what collagen is. And I'm just going to explain it real quick. Collagen is connective tissue in our bodies. So that can include the skin, bones, tendons, cartilage. So vitamin C plays a very important role in the production of collagen. So yes, it's very important for these two major functions. Another last thing I did want to mention about vitamin C is that it aids in the absorption of iron. So that is another major mineral that we need in our daily lives to function. And vitamin C helps with the absorption of that. So I'm just de-seeding these because we don't want the seeds in our food. They don't taste very good. They're bitter. And I'm also removing the white part of it. You don't have to, but it can taste bitter sometimes. So I'm just thinly slicing these up for our chicken. This is gonna go together in the air fryer. And I bought these bell peppers in a pack of 3. So they all come together in a pack. That's why there's 3 different colors. And they're often cheaper if you buy them in a pack like that versus buying them individually. So there's not much to it. You just, this is the way I like to do it. Just slice it down the middle and then remove the seeds out and then make sure that you shake it out and just throw away the parts you don't want and then thinly slice it. I like to thinly slice it because it cooks faster that way. So now I'm going to mince up the cilantro for the topping for our food here. And you can keep the stalks. It doesn't really matter. It all tastes the same. So you just want to mince it up. And I did want to speak about some nutrition facts about cilantro. So cilantro has very high levels of vitamin A, K, and E. And just a quick overview of what these vitamins can do for us in our body is vitamin A is essential for the visual cycle. So that means for our eye health. Vitamin A is a powerful cofactor in this visual cycle. So it's essential and necessary for our eye health. So eating foods high in vitamin A can really help support your vision. And then vitamin K is also present in cilantro, and it is necessary for blood clotting. And finally, vitamin E is another major antioxidant, like and similar to vitamin C. So it will prevent cells, your bodily cells, from damage. And now that I have the prep of my produce ready, I'm just gonna set it aside. Actually, I'm going to season the bell peppers with some oil and some salt and pepper. So I have this little piece of equipment. I find it really easy to put oil into things with this spray. So this is a good investment if you wanted to buy one. I highly recommend it. It's a lot easier than trying to swirl it around and then too much comes out. And I just like it's a more controlled way of putting adding oil to your food. So 3 to 4 sprays, and then you just add a little bit of salt, and you just shake it to make sure everything gets coated in the oil. And now we're going to set it aside. Now we're going to move on to preparing the chicken. And something I wanted to mention is that chicken is not recommended to be washed. The main reason for that is for contamination issues. So the FDA right now, they don't recommend washing it. And like I said, contamination issues. So when you wash chicken, you can actually spread a lot more of the germs that it has all over your kitchen environment because water will splatter into very, very small particles, and that can contain the germs and contaminants that we don't want to get into our fresh produce, like our bell peppers. So I'm not going to wash the chicken due to that recommendation. And it's also something that I recommend to people when I'm doing other teaching kitchens. So do not wash your kitchen for safety purposes. So I'm gonna go ahead and slice it, and we're also going to season it as well and then put it in the air fryer. So this cut of chicken is the chicken breast tenderloin. So it's already in thin strips like this. I'm just gonna make them a little bit thinner so that again, it cooks faster with the bell peppers.
Is chicken a good source of protein?
Yes, chicken is a very good source of protein. It actually is also very high in other vitamins and minerals that are very essential to us. So another big mineral that is very abundant in chicken is selenium. So this mineral is necessary for immune function, thyroid health, and for fertility. So eating chicken is a good way of increasing your immune function and just supporting your overall health, especially due to one of the main things that we do know about chicken is that it's high in protein. And as we know, protein is very highly sought after due to the health benefits that it has, such as increasing muscle mass, helping us with our immune function, and helping regenerate any broken tissue. So it helps a lot with repair and growth, and like I said, immune function. So yes, chicken is very good for you. And the cut that I use is chicken breast, so it's a lot lower in fat versus other types of chicken. There are different types of cuts of chicken. So there is white meat and dark meat. So the white meat is typically lower in fat, and the darker meat is higher in fat. So white meat is like the chicken breast, and then the dark meat will be like the chicken thighs, the legs, the wings. So those are higher in fat. So that's why people most often choose the chicken breast, because it's a lot lower in fat than other types of cuts of the chicken. So other different parts of the chicken. This is the part of the chicken that is lowest in fat. And it has lower in fat, higher in protein content. So if you go to the darker cut, you'll have higher fat, a little bit less protein. So yes. So now that we have finished cutting the chicken up, we're gonna go ahead and season it. So I'm just spreading it out. I'm gonna season it right here onto my board. And I'm just gonna keep it very simple. I'm just going to do salt, pepper, and paprika. I'm just gonna go ahead and wash my hands before I start seasoning and touching the container. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start seasoning this. I don't really measure. You can use as much as you think you might need it. This isn't a very strong spice, so you can go liberal with it or not as much, but it does give a peppery taste to it, and it gives a nice, beautiful red color to the chicken once it's cooked. So again, I chose ingredients and things that you don't really have to think too much about. I know sometimes when you're in a hurry, you don't want to take out the measuring spoon or this and that, and it just makes things a little bit more daunting to think about. So just sprinkle it on there, whatever looks good. And then again with the salt, this one just, don't spend like 15 seconds seasoning it with salt. Just a one swoop over it, and then you can season again afterwards as you taste your food to your preference or to your liking. So the last thing is the pepper. I will season it with oil once it's in the air fryer. So I'm gonna spray my air fryer with non-stick oil. That way there's easier cleanup and that it just doesn't stick to the bottom. So we're not scraping off the chicken or the bell pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and add the chicken. And you just want to spread it out on the bottom. That way it's not all clumped up into one area. And I'm going to give it one last spray of oil over the top. And we're going to go ahead and cook this at 400 degrees for 10 minutes. It might need more, just depending on how much the thickness of the chicken, but we're going to check it periodically. So we're going to go ahead and start it. So now we're gonna move ahead into cooking the rice. So like I mentioned earlier, we're using microwave rice, and I'm gonna cook 2 servings. And we're just gonna follow the instructions that it has here. For 2 servings, it says 1 cup of rice plus 1 cup of water. And I'm gonna be using this microwave safe bowl. This is a glass container. So I'm gonna add the rice. I already pre-measured it. And I'm going to add the 1 cup of water. So in the instructions of the box, it does say that you can add a little bit of oil if you want to for better flavor, or some butter as well. But I'm just gonna go ahead and just cook it like this. So it does say that for 2 servings, which we are doing, it's 6 minutes. So we're gonna get this started in the microwave for 6 minutes. So what we're gonna do with this can of beans is we're gonna add it to the rice bowl and just mix it up, and we're gonna eat it like that all together. So this can of beans, I already rinsed and drained it, so it's ready to just add it. All you need is a can opener for this. I'm going to go ahead and check my chicken now. So I have a food thermometer. You don't need to use one because typically 400 for about 10 minutes will fully cook the chicken, depending on how much you're putting in. So with the amount that we used, it will have cooked to temperature. So I'm just gonna double check because I like to double check with my food thermometer, and it should read 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is reading 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm just gonna give it a shake so that everything can get mixed up in there. And this is what it looks like. So we're just gonna leave it in the bin in there for a bit, waiting while the rice cooks. So like I said, we're not just cooking one meal right now. This is to cook for at least 2 to 3 meals. So we're gonna see how far it stretches. I do have my meal prep containers right here, and we're just gonna divide it up into 3 equal portions. Hopefully we do get three. I know we will because we do have enough chicken for serving size. So that's what we're gonna do with all of the chicken, the rice, and the bell peppers.
How long can we store the chicken in the fridge for meal prep?
So the FDA recommends that cooked chicken can be in the fridge for 3 to 4 days. And that is typically like the maximum. So if you want to look more into meal prepping and practice that more, that is the maximum. So that is why we're only doing about three, just to stay on the minimum side. I usually meal prep for 4 days for my husband and for myself. So I'll cook what I need, and I already know the amounts so that we can have 4 meals for him for lunch for his work week. That way he's not out buying fast food, which can add up and cost a lot more. But yes, 3 to 4 days to answer your question. So while we're waiting for the microwave to finish cooking the rice, I just did want to speak a little bit on the cost of these meals. So for all of the ingredients that we bought, which was the chicken, the beans, the bell pepper, the microwave rice, the cilantro, and then the lime. I forgot to mention that I did have lime. So I cut it up already, but it was just one lime and I cut it into 6 pieces like this. So the cost for these 6 items was $14.97. And if we're able to make 3 meals out of this, the cost per serving would be $4.97 for 1 meal. And if we make 4 meals out of it, if we can stretch it a little bit longer, then it would have been $3.72 per meal. So this is a whole lot cheaper than going to Chipotle, which is a variation of kind of like what we're making. Chipotle specializes in making these kinds of rice and bean bowls with chicken fajitas. So if you go to Chipotle and you get a similar bowl to this, the cost of that would be double of the cost of 1 meal that we made here. So it would be about $8.50. So if you're having 3 of these bowls, you would just need to multiply 8.5 times 3, and then that's just an astronomical number compared to making it at home. So again, I did want to speak on the fact that cooking at home can be a lot cheaper. It does require some time and effort to be put into it, but I do believe that if we can have control of the ingredients that we use, and more than anything, the cost, especially during times like this where it can be very expensive to go and eat out, then I think this is a very good choice to make as a young student. If you're trying to save up money, for example, a car, or if you're trying to move out or get an apartment, cooking for yourself is a very good way to save some money. So now we're gonna wait for the rice to absorb some of the water. The box does say to wait about 5 minutes so that the water is fully absorbed into the rice. So we're just gonna let that happen for a little bit. So the rice is nearly done, and just wanted to take a little bit of extra time to talk about something else, which is shopping tips for this. So I typically recommend to buy in bulk, and what that means is buying a lot more of the ingredient. It will be a little bit more expensive on the upfront, but I do believe that if you are able to manage that ingredient and store it safely, you can have it and use it for future use for a cheaper cost in the end. So something I like to do is buy my chicken in bulk. So I'll typically buy the family packs of either chicken thighs, chicken breasts, and what I like to do when I get home is I prep what I need, and then what I know that I'm not going to use or that is too much, I end up freezing it. So I have freezer safe Ziploc bags, either that or reusable freezer safe bags. I do a combination of both. So again, like I said, I use what I need, and then what I don't end up using that's in surplus, I freeze it. And then when the time comes, for example, the next week that I need chicken, I just think ahead and I know that I'm going to be prepping chicken for my husband or for myself. And all I need to do is take it out the day before from the freezer and let it thaw out in the fridge. And then when it's time for me to cook, it'll be thawed out. Depends on how much chicken is in that bag. It might need a little bit longer, like 2 days to defrost, but I will let it defrost in the fridge. That's the safest way to do it. Do not leave it outside in the counter because that can increase your risk of contaminants, of bacterial infections growing in there. So again, I thaw it out in the fridge and then I cook another meal based off what I had already bought. And I don't need to go out to the store again. I don't waste gas trying to go into the store and end up spending more money because I already have what I need. And then something that I invest in a lot too is healthy pantry items. So one that I have here in my pantry is I bought from Sam's Club. It's a huge 25-pound bag of rice. And I'm not saying you need to go out and buy a 25-pound of rice, but you can buy a bigger bag of rice, maybe like a 2-pounder or a 1-pounder, and then just keep it in your pantry for whenever you need to make rice. So again, like I said, I just use what I need, and that ingredient is very stable. So it will not go bad within a week or 2 weeks. So it's something that you can have ready to use for whenever you need to make a quick and healthy meal. Something that you can do to even help you a little bit more with the rice aspect is get a small rice cooker. I've had rice cookers before where you just put the rice, add water, press a button, and then the rice is fully cooked, and then you just use it up. You don't even need a stove or a microwave. It is an extra appliance, but it is very useful for creating quick and healthy meals like that. So, and then last thing I did want to mention is again having healthy pantry items. So, for example, a really good ingredient that I like to have on hand is canned beans. Beans are a very good source of fiber. They're a very good source of protein, plant-based protein. So having items like this that you can quickly add to rice, to soups, to anything you might want to eat. Beans are a very good source of very important minerals and vitamins. So beans are a very good thing to have in your pantry. Again, especially due to how well they keep in the pantry. Again, they do not go bad within a week or two or even months. Some of them you can have them in your pantry for up to a year. So you can stock up on these things, and then you can think ahead and do some meal planning, and then just think about what you already have in your pantry and make quick and healthy meals like that. So now we're gonna go ahead and check in our rice and then add the beans to it. So I had added this microwave cover because you need to cover the rice too. And it's going to be a little hot, so just be careful. So now we're going to fluff up the rice a little bit, and it is fully cooked. And now you're gonna wanna add your beans. You can add half of a can. And this is what it'll look like. And I like to season this too because the can that I used has no salt added. So that is another recommendation I would make is to choose low sodium labels on the cans or no salt added. Due to high sodium levels, they can be detrimental in your heart health. So You want to make sure that you don't consume too much sodium because it can be a bad thing. And it's always best to just season your food afterwards. After it's cooked, you season it to taste. So I'm just going to season it a little bit. And I'm also going to add some pepper to it. And now, once again, I'm just going to stir it up. And I'm going to take out my chicken and bell peppers. And this is now ready for assembly. So I have here my 3 plates that we're gonna prep. And now at first, if you want to figure out how much is a good serving size, you can always just Google your age and your weight. And typically a web page called My Plate can help you find out which portion is best for you. But you can also use the palm of your hand as a guide on how much chicken is a good portion for you. So the palm of your hand is a good starting point to see. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add a portion that I know is good for me. And this is making 3 plates. I am seeing that we will have enough for 3 plates, which is good because then the cost of all of this would have been $3.72 for each of these plates versus $8.50 if you were going to Chipotle to buy a meal like this. So again, the portion size, you can Google it to figure out which one is best for you. I already know how much my body needs, so this is what I am adding. And finally, we're gonna top it off with some cilantro. And I would recommend to keep this fresh. So the one that you're going to eat at the moment, add the cilantro to it and the lime. So you can use as much limon as you want. I typically like a little bit more lemon juice, so add it to your preference. And this is the final meal. So we've got the rice, the beans, the mix of that, the cilantro, the chicken fajitas with the bell pepper, as well as the lime on top. You can add other toppings if you wish, such as sour cream, which could really elevate this dish if you really wanted something creamy to help with just the overall taste of it. But other than that, this is a good, well-balanced meal. You've got the beans for the fiber, the rice for the carbs. You need carbohydrates for energy. You've got the chicken, good source of protein, the bell peppers, high in vitamin C, and then the cilantro, good source of other vitamins and minerals, and the lime juice, which is also high in vitamin C. So this is a good meal that you can eat maybe for lunch, and then the next day you could eat this for dinner, switch up your lunch, that way you don't get too tired of it. And then, if you have no issues with like eating the same thing a couple of days in a row, you have a third lunch here. And again, like I said, the overall cost for this one plate would be $3.40. So I would say that is a good economical choice to make in this current environment that we're in with high costs of food. So again, I just really think that we should try as much as possible to cook more at home due to the health benefits that it can have and lower and reduce costs. So I really hope that this inspires you guys to cook more meals at home. And I hope that it empowers you so that you can see how simple and easy it can be to cook for yourself at home. And if you guys have any further questions, you can drop them in the chat box or email me directly or message me directly, and I can provide you with more resources on buying in bulk, freezing, meal prepping. I love to meal prep, so I have a lot of tips on that. So again, if you guys have any other questions regarding that or nutrition related questions, send me a message and I can answer your questions. And then again, I will be sending out a survey to all of the participants. Thank you so much for your time. And this does conclude the teaching kitchen. And again, here is the final product. Thank you for your time.